California. I'm operating pretty well on my one crutch and my braces, and absolutely killing it again with my private clients. Just cash trips, Venmo. Today is an $800 day, 3 bookings, right? And then I read like one of the channels, I think it was Thomas or Tristan Thomas, whatever the guy's name, says, you shouldn't be taking illegal cash trips. Cash trips ain't illegal if you have the paperwork, if you have the licensing. Recruiting Uber and Lyft passengers into your private company is not illegal because you're an independent contractor. Jeff Watts says it very well on Mic Drop Barbecue. I've been preaching this for years. I've converted thousands and thousands of drivers, probably close to 5,000 drivers, to set up their own LLC and take private trips. None of them are shutting down. None of them have shut down, and they are printing money, right? Because they strategically go after Uber and Lyft clients and convert them. So whatever the guy is preaching in his video with that bait and switch thumbnail, he has absolutely no clue about cash trips. Why? Because he's not doing them, right? If you ask Jeff Watts doing cash trips, private clients, ask him how much money he is making. I'm killing it. I would challenge anyone out there that makes more money than I do, any YouTuber than I do with private clients a year. Over $300,000 last year just on private clients, right? Another guy that I reported on made $220,000 in Florida. So good luck pushing those videos with those type of bait and switch thumbnails that cash rides are illegal. Cash rides are not illegal if you are set up properly, if you have the right insurance, if you have the right paperwork for your state. Car doesn't really matter. I mean, you could have a Sienna, you could have a Suburban, you could have a Cadillac, right? The more people you can accommodate in your vehicle, the more money you're going to make. But I take offense to these people that have never done cash trips, right? Don't know the legalities, but go out there and say, and I would ask you to correct that thumbnail, because to push out false information that cash trips are illegal, they are not. I'm repeating again, they are not illegal. You're an independent contractor. You have the right to accept trips, decline them as you wish without retaliation. You can convert follow-up trips as you wish. So if you're doing cash trips, great for you. Now, to the topic, Minnesota, right? 10 companies have lined up. 10 companies have lined up to take that space. A good role model would have been Austin, Texas, when Uber and Lyft pulled out. Rides Austin was probably the most successful one, but they all filled the void. Like 4 or 5 companies filled the void. Now, apparently, there are 10 companies, and we'll go through them. Some of you drive on some of these channels already, right? Hitch, H-I-C-H. Don't think they have any traction, or don't even think they have any trips under their belt, but it's a local guy from Minnesota that's entering the arena. Move, M-O-O-V, Move, apparently gives 80% of the fare to drivers. Rides, W-R-I-D-Z, wants to enter the mix in Minnesota. Apparently, the CEO says they're in 9 states, but declines to say how many drivers there. That's not a good thing if the CEO cannot stand behind his registered drivers. For example, in the Fare Co-op, which we've started doing food deliveries in Canada, I'm pushing these guys to get going in the United States. Unfortunately, I don't have any influence over when it starts. They're obviously going after the investors still. But the Fare Co-op, I personally brought in 50,000 drivers already, right? So it's up to the president of Fare Co-op, AJ and Danny, to rock and roll. And I suggested Minnesota. Get going in Minnesota. Now, another one, Joyride. It's not J-O-Y, but it's J-O-I-R-Y-D-E. Do I like the name? No, it's just too many like Joyride. RYDE doesn't do it for me. Like I'm very much about the brand, about the name. Does it attract me? Doesn't. What's the potential marketing behind it? Doesn't do it for me, right? The reason why I like the word fair, F-A-R-E, right? Because you keep it fair, F-A-I-R. So you have an easy slogan, fair keeps it fair, right? And that I can market. I can throw my weight behind that. Empower, spoken to the CEO. He's based out of Virginia. I don't know how much of a rap he has out there. I mean, he's gone into certain cities without licensing. I can't say much about him. He always emails me and thinks I'm going to do free publicity for him. Absolutely not. I'm not a free volunteer channel that does marketing for other companies. No, I promote fair co-op, right? I've signed up, shown that I've signed up 50,000 drivers. They owe me a shitload of money. They better pay, right? And I want to see it being successful. But with Empower, man, I have not heard too many good stories. I really haven't. And specifically if someone knows, like the CEO knows that he needs licensing in particular cities and goes in without the licensing, you know, that's pretty much how Travis Kalanick did it. You know, people that can't follow the rules and regulations, I generally don't have much time for them anyway, right? Because they're just hurting other people. Now, My Wheels is another one, another local Minnesota company trying to get in there. The Drivers Co-op in New York that I've helped in New York, even before Fair Co-op, I'd helped the Drivers Co-op in New York get more drivers into their system. They're operating in New York, right? And I think they would probably be one of the most strongest players in Minnesota. Why? Because they tried and tested. I mean, Empower is also tried and tested. Rides to a degree is also tried and tested. It's these companies that are already tried and tested and that have operational apps that are going to do well. They will quickly fill the void, right? Because the moment Uber and Lyft pull out, why do they pull out? Or why do they want to pull out? Because they are not, ladies and gentlemen, they are not willing to pay the $1.40 per mile and the 51 cents per minute that these drivers in Minnesota fought for, right? That's set in stone. They're going to try and overturn that. Governor Walz did his own survey. He dragged his ass way too long. Mayor Frey dragged their ass way too long. And they came in with what I think or consider a pretty flawed report saying, oh, the drivers should only get 89 cents. Well, the 89 cents per mile would not even equate to Minnesota's minimum $15. So why are you as a Republican and Democrat trying to push a report on the drivers that says, oh, these companies should only pay you 89 cents? To me, it's pretty damn clear who owns these Democratic and Republican politicians, namely Uber and Lyft, right? Paying money into their campaigns, boosting both sides. Often these companies sleep with both sides. It's not like they just favor one party, but they donate to both parties, and they want returns, right? They want returns. So they want returns from Walz and Frey. But the drivers fought hard. Right now, they deserve the $1.40 per mile. They deserve the 51 cents per mile. And if they are not even willing to do the minimum, they must get out. They must exit, right? Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Uber and Lyft. And that's got to be our attitude for every city. If you are not willing to respect, if you are not willing to honor, if you are not willing to show loyalty, if you are not willing to pay, right? To pay. That's the big one. Your drivers in a city, we as the drivers need to push them out. And that's really why I've been protesting hard in San Francisco. I mean, I drove up with my crutches. I was in front of ABC TV. I was in Telemundo. I was working all the cameras and the reporters, telling the companies directly at their headquarters at 1455 Market Street, calling Dara Khosrowshahi out, shouting through the bullhorn. I was loud. The people were gathering at the windows. They didn't even want to come outside because they were so fucking afraid. Then I went down to Lyft headquarters, called out Risha, called out these executives loud, right? And we had the police backing there. There was a lot of police. You had a lot of angry drivers, and we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again in May. We are going to do it again in June, right? I think it's a powerful thing, and I'm going to have to fly up or drive up once a month, but that's that's part of the journey. A battle is not won overnight. I know that I have to invest more hours in San Francisco. I know that I have to get the bullhorn out. I want to chase these companies out of the cities, right? Because we have the power. They don't have the power, ladies and gentlemen. We have the numbers, right? We have the numbers to influence councilmen. We have the numbers to influence politicians and legislators, right? To turn it into our favor. But we got to put in the work, right? One thing I've learned in business, input equals output. If you don't put input, if you don't put in the hours, or if you just go, well, how's this going to change things? If you don't do your part, you will never, ever in life, step into your true. Why did my phone just freeze? I'm in Newport. Should have good cell phone reception. I got myself the little green lady here. There it is. And so yeah, we got to fight hard, and Minnesota has to keep on fighting, and I hope they kick Uber and Lyft out. I really do, because then these 10 companies, again, Hitch, H-I-C-H, Move, M-O-V-V, Rides, W-R-I-D-Z, right? Drivers Co-op New York, Fair Co-op, Empower, Joyride, another one called You Got Wheels. I just thought that's such a dumbass name, You Got Wheels. And then maybe Hum. I see that Jeff Watts is doing a lot of videos for Hum. Maybe they're also interested in going to Minnesota. But there's at least 10, 11 companies ready to fill the void and launch in Minnesota, right? No matter what Uber and Lyft do, no matter what Uber and Lyft do in Minnesota, these companies are committed. Reality is that usually like 10, if 10 say, oh, it's our intention to get in there, usually it'll be about 3 or 4 that will only be active, because the others just want to ride the media wave. I know that, right? They want to ride the media wave. Oh, we'll come in there. We'll see who comes in there, because apparently the license you got to put down like $100,000. And the little startups that have never even, like Hitch or Move, that have never even operated one trip, some of them haven't even built the apps. Good luck. You are not getting into that mix. You're smart because you're capitalizing on the marketing and you're capitalizing on the media, but you're not going to be, and I can tell you, companies like Hitch and Move will not be in Minnesota, right? They're just riding that media wave, trying to get some exposure, maybe trying to get some investors, and that's all fine and good, but don't come out there and say, oh, we're going to be there in May, from May the 1st. You can't say that if you haven't even developed your app, right? Now, out of those 10 companies, I know who's tested the app. I know who has the app, right? There's probably 3 out of the 10, maybe 4 out of the 10 that don't even have the app. They just want to ride the wave, right? And the one thing I got to say is the more the merrier. I would hope to see 10 companies, because the more competition you have, right? It's like the same with the restaurant business. The more chains, the more type of foods you have, right? The better it's for the consumer, the better it is for the worker, namely for the driver, right? Because these people have to fight for you. I know that the Fair Co-op pays 90% and they keep 10%, right? Move, the guy from Afghanistan who's still building the app, he says, we're going to give the driver 80%, right? Empower, I think they take $100 $100 membership per month, and you get a pretty high percentage of the trip. I don't exactly know how their business model works, but all the better if we have more companies in the mix, right? We have to have more companies in the mix, and that's really what it boils down to. Again, these companies: Hitch, Move, Rides, Joyride, You Got Wheels, Empower. Another one, My Wheels, from Minnesota, doesn't have an app yet. Fair Co-op, maybe Hum. Another company that is already busy on the cryptocurrency field with Solana. If anybody does cryptocurrency, is Teleport. They've also voiced their interest in getting involved in the Minnesota market. Teleport. So Teleport, the Fair Co-op, the Driver Co-op out of New York, My Wheels, Empower, You Got Wheels, Joyride, they just started testing in North Carolina, Rides, apparently in 9 states, Move, not built yet, Hitch, not built yet, and Hum. I wish them all well, I really do. And my guess is 3 of them will show up. 3 out of those 10, 11 companies will show up, right? And at Lyft, just 2 days ago, 48 hours ago, CEO David Risher softened up and said, "Yo, we'll stay, and we're willing to pay the 89 cents." Dude, that is the report, that is the research you funded, right? You and the politicians funded that 6-month report, and they made a suggestion that drivers get 89 cents per mile. However, that doesn't even come close. It doesn't even come close to the state's minimum of $15. And no driver in any city, in any state, should drive for less than the state's minimum wage. If the companies and if the politicians are not willing to pay you that, the politicians need to leave. We need to vote them out, right? And the companies, Uber and Lyft, need to leave. So from a business perspective, in an open, free economy and capitalism where competition is healthy, my attitude would be, may the fittest survive. Kick Uber and Lyft out if they don't want to. Somebody was asking me, what about Florida, about Suburbans? I don't know anyone in the Sunshine State that has Suburbans, unfortunately. What's up? Empower thinks they slick. Yeah, I mean, I spoke to the CEO, man. I don't know. He did not convince me. Did not come across as a personality, as a fighter. That CEO of Empower. I spoke to him. He was begging me, push my company. But he didn't want to pay anything. He didn't even want to pay for the insurance, right? So he's cutting corners and screwing over other little companies. And I don't have time for people like that, right? I'll tell him straight to his fucking face, right? I don't have time for people that are trying to screw other people over. It doesn't work in my world. What I do know is that on April the 1st, we made a ton of noise and we got a ton of local San Francisco media, right? And this is where we need to hit them, at least myself and the people that I work with. There's good people out there, Ivan, Caesar, Rosalinda. These are the warriors I will fight with. Edward Escobar, legend. He knows how to fight, right? So San Francisco, we got to go to the heart, right? To the heartbeat, to the city where these companies have their headquarters, on Berry Street and on Market Street. Not an ounce of being afraid, no ounce of fear going there. Just made a shitload of noise and really called these son of a bitches out. Really did, right? And engaged the media. And that's really what this is about, right? I feel like I got to go there monthly. Grow the movement, beat the drums, call them out, bullhorn. Those bullhorns are amazing, they're loud. And all those little chicken heads, all those little engineers hiding in their buildings, just cowards of the cowards, that's who they are. And myself repeatedly telling them, we pay your salaries, we pay your salaries, right? You're only here because of us, but you're treating us like shit. And that doesn't work. So in Minnesota, if you cannot step up and pay the minimum of $1.40 per mile, if they cannot pay the minimum of 51 cents per minute, get out. Get out. It is our duty to kick them out, city by city. Just kick them out. Now, I'm heading up. I got to be in a meeting in LA, done down here in Orange County at Newport Beach. Beautiful day. I wish everyone an amazing weekend. Shout out to you all. Let's see the messages there. Let's see who else is there. Renting. If you want to rent an SUV, my suggestion is go to Craigslist or Facebook. Look in those local rooms. Look in Orlando, Uber. Look in Lyft, Orlando, and you'll see a lot of these people that are renting or leasing out SUVs, right? That's where they advertise. That's where you'll find them. You just got to get the right. You got to speak to drivers and see if they're happy with the operator, because there's a lot of shady operators out there. Man, there are shady fleet owners out there. Shady fleet owners. What's going on here?
Sorry, I missed that.
Don't worry, I'm not interested in I don't know, I think I hit that SOS thing in my car. That's funny. So yeah, I'm hobbling around on one crutch, making things happen. Any questions you have, hit me up below. If you're looking into doing private rides, it's fully legal. Don't listen to some of these other YouTubers. Speak to the people that are actually doing private trips, right? Like Jeff Watts is making good money on private trips. I make good money every single day on private trips, whether I drive or whether I have my backup drivers driving the people for me, but I'm booked every single day. So I'm making money every single day with private clients. So I just find it, again, at the beginning of the video, I find it upsetting that some people are pushing out bait and switch type of thumbnails that private cash rides are illegal. They are not illegal, ladies and gentlemen. You just have to do it the right way. So, again, cash trips are legal if you are set up the right way. And there's thousands and thousands of drivers that'll tell you the same. You cannot listen to a YouTuber that's never done private rides and thinks that they know their shit, right? So Tristan Thomas, whatever your name is, you would have to redo that video, because you, at that moment, I think he has a good channel, I really do, but you lose every bit of credibility with me, right, as a YouTuber, if you are pushing out a video, A, you haven't even done it, and B, you're just spreading false information. Again, cash rides are fully legal if done the correct way, namely the right insurance, the right paperwork for the state. Cars may differ, right? There's a whole wide range of cars that you could use. They have to be registered commercially, and you, as an independent contractor, you can solicit riders as you wish. Uber and Lyft, nobody, they might put the fear into you that you cannot do it, but they cannot retaliate against you. They cannot deactivate you over that, or they have a lawsuit. So again, I want to give those 10 companies a shout out. Hitch from Minnesota, HICH. Move, MOVV, a guy that served in Afghanistan, wants to start that company, doesn't even have an app yet, obviously still looking for money. Rides, WRIDZ. If any of these ring a bell, if you are driving of any of these, please leave in the comments. Let us know how they are, how they treat you, how they pay you, right? That's very helpful information for other drivers. Joyride, JOIRYDE, think that's a shit name. You Got Wheels, also think that's a shit name. Empower, don't think highly of the CEO at all. My Wheels, local guy, Minnesota. Fair Co-op, I know them. They've At least they've started they have the apps and they've started in Canada. Teleport, I don't know anything about them. Hum, I think one should rather ask Jeff Watts. He seems to know more about Hum, H-U-M. And then Drivers Co-op in New York. I've personally also recruited for them, have had many Zoom calls with them. They legit, they're great, good people behind them. They've done trips and now they're moving into Minnesota. Deliver You Truth, Uber let me dry at a gas station in 30-degree weather. They suspended my cash out randomly. It was not a horrible night sleeping in the car, but I don't know why they did this. And then they turned it back on 9 a.m. Well, you lost money. They need to pay you, right? You've lost money there. They need to pay you. So yeah, do get, please, we only have 36 people in this live feed. It's obviously a Saturday, middle of the day. People are doing other things, not necessarily working. They might go out working tonight. They're not, you know, on YouTube, not on the live streams. But do share the video. Let's get it out. At least you have some options. You have 10 players that are willing to enter the Minnesota arena on May the 1st. Some of them, again, I'm repeating myself, don't even have the apps ready. But good luck. Good luck to all those 10 companies. And they said they would enter Minnesota even if Uber or Lyft stayed. So it doesn't really matter if Uber or Lyft were leaving or stayed. These 10 companies have expressed their interest to operate no matter what Uber and Lyft do. And I do hope that the drivers in Minnesota stand strong, don't compromise, don't back off the $1.40, $1.40 per mile, don't back off the 51 cents. Do not accept the 89 cents. Councilman, councilwoman, you've ruled twice in favor of the drivers. It's time to step up or we vote you out. It's simple, right? You know that the state's minimum should be paid. So, hey, I'm proud of the council people that they voted twice in the right direction. However, they are going soft and they want to call for another vote on April the 11th. And that can only mean that their superiors are bought off. Got to stand strong. You got to send a message. You cannot have a monopoly or a duopoly bully the smaller people, the smaller companies, just because they have money in their accounts, right? And just because they can buy politicians. It's bullshit. And I'm going to make a hell of a lot of noise in May up in San Francisco. I'll be making a hell of a lot of noise in June and July in San Francisco. You're going to see my face. And we've got over 18,000 views in 24 hours on that live feed. And I appreciate everyone that tuned in and helped get the word out. So wish you a great weekend, everyone. Down from Newport Beach with my Americano, little green lady here. And have a blessed weekend, my friends. If you're working tonight, go make money. If you're chilling, that's cool. And again, I'll when I get a chance, I'm going to list those 10 companies with the links to those 10 companies below. And give us feedback. If you've driven for rides, if you've driven for the Drivers Co-op in New York, if you've driven for Teleport or the Fair Co-op or Empower, leave the message below. Thank you. Back on 9 a.m. Much appreciated. Have a good one, everyone. Stay safe.